Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Niches and welcome back to another discussion. Today's discussion will be telephone directory. I know it kind of sounds a little bit weird, right? Why do I, out of blue, just decided to talk about telephone directory? Well, there are some things that I'm kind of curious about. The first will be, do any of you guys still use phone number? Not phone number, but more like house phone, right? Like, do you still own telephone in your house, or not? Because well, everything is now through your smartphone, right? You just buy a number, like or what is it called? Like have the operator, right? Um, and then just maybe use internet, right? And not using the call. Maybe you use the internet for call as well, but not really the one from telephone, right? Or phone in general, I guess. So yeah, I'm kind of curious about if you guys still use house phone or not, like telephone or not. Me personally, there is still one in my house. Well, not my house, but more like in my parents' house. There's still one, although not really a lot. It's kind of funny. Actually, I will tell about a story after this. So basically, um, we still have telephone, but um, what is it like? We still have, but we don't really use in a way that there is no one that actually calls us through our house number, telephone number. And it's kind of weird. Well, not really weird because obviously everyone now has a phone, right? And you can just text someone, right? Or use application for messaging, right? Like let's say WhatsApp or um, yeah, anything like basically like maybe Snapchat. I'm not sure if you use that. Uh, what else? Yeah, basically any other messaging service, right? Um, because of that, I'm kind of curious if you still use telephone or not. But yeah, also yeah, the story. The only use of telephone in our house is it's not for other people. It's actually for us, ourselves. So, okay. So here's the thing. Sometimes our phone got charged, right? By that I mean, you charge the phone because the battery is dead, right? And then at the same time as well, sometimes like my dad or my mom, try to contact me or my siblings, right? So because they cannot reach our phone, out of service or basically, because I turn off it, right? And maybe I also don't turn on the notification, therefore there is no sound, right? Or volume. So I'm not sure if there is something in my phone or not, right? At all the time. Unless I check it myself, right? But if there is phone coming, then I'm not gonna be bothered for that, right? Because I turn off the volume basically. Now, sometimes they cannot reach us, right? And the way they do that is through the home telephone. So they just call the house telephone, right? And then later, either me or my siblings pick up the phone, right? And then, well, it's just the parents, right? Basically, like they tell us to check phone or they tell us to do something, basically, and that's about it. And yeah, that's like probably primarily the function of telephone in our house. It's just for communication, right? If none of us actually turn on the phone or at the phone at the moment, right? So they use the phone because the phone is always turned on. It always rings, right? So it's kind of easy, right, for that. So yeah. Also, like sometimes my sibling called me as well while I'm at home, and then they're in their house. Um, they called for me to check on something, right? Like to check on probably like the laundry maybe, or to like receiving package from the mailman probably and stuff like that. So yeah, Yeah, like basically the main use is just for that to remind people at home, because again sometimes we're not with our phone and we just don't pick it up, right? So yeah, that's literally the main use. I actually never got any call from anyone, which is kind of sad, right? By that I mean I can understand as well. Well, obviously we have phone, right? If my friend wants to call me or something, they just send me message, right? But yeah, so we don't really use telephone because the telephone as well is kind of expensive if you think about it. Using internet, sometimes you use Wi-Fi, right? And Wi-Fi is also expensive, but the thing is that sometimes you can use public Wi-Fi as well to access internet, right? So it's kind of free if you can use that as well. Um, like in the public anyway, so it's easier, right? Or it's cheaper generally than just call the phone number, right? By that I mean call the telephone, the house phone, right? So yeah, there's that. Message is probably like the best way to contact someone, right? Unless again, like in my case, sometimes we don't use phone and we're not aware that there is some phone or calls or message coming. So we use the house telephone, right? So yeah, there's that. The second question that I'm curious is that because we use house telephone, right? And then as you can see over here, we'll be discussing about telephone directory, or I guess phone book. Um, I tried to search for phone book and it redirected me here, which is telephone directory. I guess it's kind of the same, right? So my question will be like, like with our phone, smartphone, we don't usually share our number with a lot of people, right? However, if you think about it, the thing about house telephone is that we are given the phone book, right? And the phone book holds all the information for anyone that also kind of use the service, right? Like let's say that are subscribed, right? And basically I can just prank call someone from phone book, right? Which is obviously that's not a great thing to do, right? And I'm not gonna do that, and I've never done that anyway. So yeah, I encourage you to do the same, to not do that. But yeah, my main concern will be that why is it that your number is spread publicly, right, using the phone book, like do people aware of this, there must be like some kind of stuff, right, that happened in the past as well, because everyone can access to your phone, your telephone. Therefore, again, you can get prank, right? You can get like fake calls, basically, right? And then it can sometimes be harmless, but in some occasion it can be harmful, right? Like let's say scams and stuff like that. They can just steal phone book, right, and then have access to um, every house phone number, right, through the phone book, right? So yeah, I was curious about why phone book existed in the first place, right? Why do you want other people to know your number, right? Isn't that like a bad thing to do anyway in this year? I would say, right? Because again, like if I have number for my smartphone, I'm obviously not gonna reveal that to public, right? I'm not gonna blatantly just share that with the public, right? Because again, nowadays there's just a lot of things going around that can happen through simply just by knowing your phone number, right? However, why is it that back then or even until now, phone books still exist, right? I'm kind of curious about that. Therefore, maybe we can have some answers over here as well. I don't know, right? So yeah, I guess we can just start. A telephone directory, commonly called a telephone book, telephone address book, phone book, or the white and yellow pages, is a listing of telephone subscribers in a geographical area or subscribers to services provided by the organization that publishes the directory. Its purpose is to allow the telephone number of a subscriber identified by a name and address to be found. Yeah, here we go. This is like the main problem, right? Not only they know your name and number, but there's also your address as well, right? Which is again, this is pretty much a red flag in today's society, right? You don't want to share this information publicly, right? Because again, people can use that, misuse that for something else that are harmful for you, right? So again, I'm kind of curious why it's like that, right? Like literally, they have your full name, they have your number, they have your address, right? What if they visited you, right, and then do something bad to you, right? So yeah, I'm kind of curious why it is like that. Now, I'm not sure if it's still a thing like today or not, but probably, right? But again, I'm just kind of curious about why. Um, when I was a kid, I actually liked to read the phone book just to find, the house telephone, right? Obviously, it was named to my father, to my dad, basically. So I just, tried to search for my dad's name, right? And then, yeah, we found one. We found that, right? So yeah, it also has the address as well and the phone number, right? So yeah, it's kind of weird if you ask me. Maybe back then, yeah, I'm still not sure why it existed, right? Even back then, didn't they not think about like the harmful things that people can do, right? Well, obviously it was kind of new back then, right? It was a thing and they have good purpose, right? And then so people just use that supposedly for the purpose, right? But as time goes on, people started to abuse the system, right? Using that to do bad things, and basically having phone book is, I would say, like considered as like privacy breach, right? Because your phone, your name, your address is mentioned there. So yeah. Anyway, there's that, right? The advent of the internet and smartphones in the 21st century greatly reduced the need for a paper phone book. Some communities, such as Seattle and San Francisco, sought to ban their unsolicited distribution as wasteful, unwanted, and harmful to the environment. What is it? Okay, so they kind of ban um, the phone book, right? Because it's wasteful, unwanted, harmful to the environment. Okay, but I think the most harmful thing is probably the fact that it gives information to you. It also gives your information to a lot of people as well, right? Again, like people can do bad things nowadays, right? So just sharing your private information like that, I don't think it's a great idea anymore, right? So yeah, the slogan "Let your fingers do the walking" refers to use of phone books. Oh yeah, I kind of remember this as well when I was kid. It was actually yellow pages, not phone book, because the paper is yellow, right? And then yeah, so I used to again like search my own number, right? And then I use my finger to just swipe, right? Not swipe, but more like scan one by one, right? By city, and then by a region, and then by name, the first letter, and then finally found myself, right? Not myself, but found my dad's name, right? So yeah. Content names are generally listed in alphabetical order, yeah, like I said, together with their postal or street address and telephone number. In principle, every subscriber in the geographical coverage area is listed, but subscribers may request the exclusion of their number from the directory, often for a fee. Their number is then said to be unlisted. X directory or private. Oh, I see. A telephone directory may also provide instructions how to use the telephone service, how to dial, be it local or international, what numbers to access, important and emergency service. Oh, here we go. This is actually a nice thing, right? I'm also kind of asking about this the other day as well. Um, about emergency service, right? Basically me just thinking, what happened if suddenly there is a house fire, right, in my area, right? Who do I call, right? Because in my country we don't have 911 just like in the US, so we cannot really reach 911, right? So I was kind of concerned about if that happened, then who should I call, right? It was kind of like a concern basically, right? And then there's what if there's an accident, right? How do we call ambulance, right? To to help people as quick as possible, right? Like maybe traffic accident, right? Or other stuff as well. And then yeah, basically emergency service, right? I was kind of asking about how do we get that number. Um, well, apparently it's answered now. It's in the phone book, right? But then again, I feel like to access that, to have access to emergency service or important number, I don't think we actually have to search for the phone book, right? So yeah, I guess again now we have internet. I guess we can just Google that or search that, right? But yeah, yeah, also utilities, hospitals, doctors, organizations who can provide support in times of crisis. It may also have civil defense or emergency management information. There may be transit maps, postal codes, zip code, guides, international dialing codes, or stadium seating charts, as well as advertising. Oh yeah, the advertising is the one that I remember as well. Like suddenly there is like picture of food, right? Because yeah, obviously the advertising, right? Like a picture for what is it like? I don't know, like basically product, right? So yeah, in the U.S. under current rules and practices, mobile phone and voice over IP listings are not included in telephone directories. Efforts to create cellular directories have met stiff opposition from several fronts, including those who seek to avoid telemarketers. Yeah, like I said, right? Because you basically share your information, like to the public, and then they can basically abuse this, right, for their own need. Like again, like using as telemarketers is basically the one that um give you advertisement through phones, right? Which is kind of annoying. It still until now exists. Apparently, the other day my dad talked about that there is some person that suddenly uh, you know they called him, and then the first thing that they said is says they mentioned my dad's name, right? And then they mentioned about our Wi-Fi, and then basically they make claims that we use the Wi-Fi a little bit too much, and then they offer more service, right? Like extending, the internet speed, expanding the amount of I guess like yeah, like the speed rate, right, for the internet and stuff like that, right? And it's kind of annoying, honestly, if you ask me. Like there's already too much advertisement, right, through phones, through videos. Maybe you watching this get some what is it like ads as well. Who knows, right? And then there is also from TVs, from yeah, like anywhere, right? Like magazines, the newspaper, if there is still some again. And then yeah, basically there's a lot of stuff already, and it's just kind of annoying to to put salt on the wound, right? Basically it's just like that. So yeah, I guess there's that. Under current rules, practices, mobile phone now not included in telephone directories, and I'm glad that that happens because yeah, it's all about privacy, right? I don't want random numbers to just call me, like basically spamming my stuff, right? Either with spams or just fake advertisement, scams, and then yeah, just advertisement basically, right? I feel like that's the only use to having directories, and I'm glad that it's not needed in current time, right? Like um, because I can just save my friend's number in my phone, right? So I don't really need to search their name via directories just to find theirs, right? So yeah, types. What is this? White pages generally indicates personal or alphabetic listings. Yellow pages, golden pages, or classified directory is usually a business directory where businesses are listed alphabetically within each of many classifications, almost always with paid advertising. Oh, I see. But I think everyone was in yellow pages, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, honestly, but yeah, I feel like maybe there. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So, yeah. Okay. So, okay, I remember now. So the phone book that we use, it's white actually, and yellow pages is only few pages basically, not all of them. And yeah, I was misremembered there. So yeah. Apparently mine was in the white pages actually, and because I used to remember that yellow pages it's something special, right? It's like suddenly there's this section with yellow names, right? Or yellow paper, right? So yeah, I guess it makes sense to make it like, for business, right? For something important, basically like important number. Therefore, they make the color just for the highlight, right? It's more like highlighted pages, right? But yeah, gray pages, sometimes called a reverse telephone directory, allowing subscriber details to be found for a given number, not available in all jurisdiction. Oh, okay. So this one, there will be numbers, and then there will be the names after that, right? Okay. So yeah. Other colors may have other meanings. For example, information on government is often printed on blue pages or green pages. Oh yeah, there you go. I don't remember anything about blue or green though, but yeah. The fact is that I kinda need those emergency calls or emergency numbers so that if there is something happen, I don't like I don't just got panic, right? Because I don't know how to call anyone, right? So yeah, I feel like everyone, like you guys also, should have important number listed in your phone as well. Like let's say the fireman, the police. Again, like if you're in the US, then you can just call 911 pretty much, right? But for other countries, you probably have different types of service. Therefore, like the police is police numbers only for police. Like the fireman number is only for firemen. The hospitals only for hospitals, etc., etc. Right? But yeah, publication. Okay, telephone directories can be published in hard copy or electronic form. I never know about the electronic one because at that time, not a lot of people actually have computers. Even my computers is just Windows 96, I believe. So yeah, the first computer that we had was Windows 95, and then not long after we got Windows 96, and then 98, if I remember correctly, and then after that we got the 2000, right? Windows XP basically, 2000, and then I think what's called again like. Uh, yeah, something basically, right? Like Windows like 1 2 3 4, and then there is like XP, I think, after that. Again, I'm not exactly remembered, right? And then 2007, and then 2010, right? Windows 10 basically. I think that's what I use right now. Again, I'm not sure, right? But yeah. So yeah. Anyway, again, back then there's not really much of computer, and I don't actually know that it was actually available for electronic form as well. Like I only know the hard copy. In many countries, directories are both published in book form and also available over the internet. Printed directories were usually supplied free of charge. So those are free then. Okay, I guess you can just order that, right? If yeah, just go to the receptionist, right? Or go to the service, I guess, customer service or something like that. But yeah, and then CD-ROM as well. Again, electronic. I don't really remember about that. Internet, the combination of phone number lookups along with internet access was offered by some service providers. Voice over IP was AM was additional feature. Okay, don't know what's going on there, but alright. History. Okay. The first telephone directory printed in New Haven, Connecticut, United States, in November 1878. Okay. But the thing is this way though. What if you print this and then new people subscribe, right? How do you get the new numbers, right? So it means that you need to update this every now and then probably, which is kind of wasteful, right? If you think about it. So I asked for a copy like today, and then few months later more people subscribe, therefore I update that, right? I got another one, and yeah, basically that's just a waste, right? A waste of resource. Again, I'm not sure why this is a thing in the first place. It seems like a huge waste, and then it's also again, it just invites a lot of harmful things, right? By sharing your private information publicly, right? So yeah. Um, Telephone directories are the type of city directory book listing of the inhabitants of an entire city were widely published starting in the 18th century before the invention of the telephone. The first telephone directory consisting of a single piece of cardboard was issued on 21st February. It listed 50 individuals, business, and other offices in New Haven, Connecticut that had telephones. Okay, so it was considered as expensive thing then because again, not a lot of people having it. Because yeah, like it's kind of normal, right? Because it's still new technology probably, so not a lot of people have it. Also, it's probably expensive. Only wealthy people use that, right? But yeah, um, okay, suggested the format of the telephone directory be changed so that appeared in alphabetical order and its telephone be identified with a number. Came to this idea out of fear that operators would contract measles and be unable to connect telephone subscribers to one another. Okay. The first British telephone, 15 January 1880, by the telephone company. Oh, okay. 248 names and address, individual and business in London. Yeah, this is the problem, right? Because the first time it released it, there's obviously not a lot of people, right? But then as time went on, there's more people, therefore they need to update, right? And the thing is that they don't just recycle stuff, right? I don't think they just make new one, right? They use new blank paper, and then they print that, they make that into a book, and then they give that for free to the people, right? And yeah, okay. Okay, I guess there's that, right? AT&T commissioned the creation of a new typeface, purpose of which was to be readable at very small font size when printed on newsprint where small imperfections were common. Okay, not sure what that means, but yeah. 1991, the U.S. Supreme Court that telephone companies do not have a copyright on telephone listings because copyright protects creativity and not the mere labor of collecting existing information. Oh, I see. A bundle of phone books in the trash unopened. Okay, so here we go. This is where it's like the waste come from, right? Because again, maybe this is all outdated. There's not, new people are not here, therefore they just trash it away, right? Over here, as you can see. So yeah, it's a big waste, I would say, right? And I don't know, like I don't know if they're still producing this or not. If not, then I'm actually glad. But if they do, then I'm not sure about that. But yeah, the first telephone directories went online in the U.S. Yellowpages.com, okay, and Whitepages.com. Both saw their start in April 1999. The first online telephone and people finding sites such as Lookup UK.com went online in the UK. Okay, in 2003, more advanced UK searching. Okay, so at first in the US and then in the Europe, right, in the UK basically. Okay, manufacture and distribution of telephone directories produce over 1.4 million metric tons of greenhouse gases and consumes over 600,000 tons of paper annually. Okay, yeah, this is a major a waste, right? Yeah, like over here, printed telephone directories are increasingly criticized as waste. I mean, it makes sense, right? Um, After some North American cities passed laws banning distribution of telephone books, industry groups sued and obtained a court ruling permitting the distribution to continue. Okay. Yeah, I guess if you're the industry, right, the one that the printing industry, then it's bad for your business, right? Because then people will not use your printing service anymore, right? So yeah, they sued, I guess, and I don't know if they won or not, but I feel like they shouldn't though, because again, it's completely unnecessary, right? In 2022, I don't think anyway, but yeah, if you need, I feel like there should be like a hotline call to the center, right, to the service center, or the customer center, I would say. And then if they want to search for certain name, they can just call, and then the center can just give them the number, right? I think that's probably better. But yeah, um or if they maybe they also don't want to share the phone, then they can just ask the I don't know, like maybe the customer service to line to make a line from them to the person they are wanted to talk to, right? Without any refilling any number. That's probably a thing. That can be a thing, but then again, I'm not sure about that, right? But yeah, reverse telephone directory is sorted by number, which can be looked up to give the name and address of the subscriber. Okay, so um, you search for the number, and then whose number is it. It is, right. But yeah, okay. So yeah, there's that. It's kind of not really explained about why it should exist in the first place, but I guess the thing is that back then there is not a lot of people using it, therefore they just allow this to exist, right? But now, since there's too many people and also many people are not using it anymore, maybe they just completely shut down this. Probably, I'm not sure. Also, yeah, I'm not sure about the current condition, right? It's too bad that there's no article about today's, like today's existence of phone book, if they're still being produced or not, right? But yeah, anyway, I think that'll be it for today's discussion. It's kind of a long one as well. We talk about what is it, like um, half an hour already, but yeah. Anyway, let me know if you still use telephone, house telephone or not. um, well, I can only assume that you guys don't, right? Because there's internet, there's your smartphone, it's already enough, right? But yeah, I feel like in few years from now, or like sooner or later, I feel like my parents will actually cut the line, will unsubscribe for the house telephone. I feel like, just because the fact that it's not really needed, right? It's just there, I guess. It consumes electricity. It's you still need to pay every month for the bill. You need to have maintenance as well. You need to eventually buy new telephone, because maybe it's broken or something, right? But yeah, I feel like it's, again, like, it's just there, it serves no function. I feel like sooner or later my parents will unsubscribe for that, just because the fact that we don't actually use that anymore, right? But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. This has been 1 year to 65 day 180, 2 days after now, 2 days tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, I mean, it will be the halfway through 365, and there I will actually talk a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff in mind as well, to just like, things to be shared, right? And then what's the plan for the third chapter, right? But yeah, again, like, I feel like um I make plans and then things don't work out as planned, right? So yeah, I might actually talk about that in that episode as well. But yeah, until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. I will see you again very soon, and see ya.